Hey, thanks for coming in, guys. We're just gonna, wait a little minute for people to join, but this conversation is gonna be good. Hey, mama. It's gonna be real good, y'all, so I'm excited. And on top of that, this is like an energetically amazing day. I don't know if you caught our live last time, and it was dealing on numbers and the signs and numbers. And this is a, February 2nd, which is second day, 2022. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good, y'all. So come on in. Got some little background music up in here. Just gonna wait for people to kind of join and get in here for a bit. Hey, Cree. Hey, Jania. I was just talking to them about how it's a number heavy day. You know what I mean? I don't know if they were in here last week, but we were talking about the importance of numbers, and it's, February 2nd. Ooh, who is this? We don't want to play that. It's just a really good day, so we ready. We're gonna let a few more people kind of join in up in here, and then we will get started momentarily. So do me a favor, hold on a little bit, or matter of fact, you can tell me about your day. How's your day? How's everybody doing? Thank you. It's like a lip stain with some gloss on there. I like the lipstick. But everybody been doing okay on this 2 day? I sound so country when I say that. Yeah, but this is gonna be a really, really, really good show. Okay. Okay, y'all. I think we are about ready to start. I'm gonna let this music kind of phase out, and then we can get into it. Hey, Jaleesa. Okay. So, welcome back to Spirit with the Bag, which is me. Bag Talk. Thank you, boo. We have another special episode of Bag Talk. It's just going to be a really, really, really good episode that is on deep conversations. And y'all already know how I feel about deep conversations. We should have more of those with our friends and with our family, because we are able to have deeper connections that way, right? And deeper understanding. And so today will be nothing short of that. The theme for today is uncovering our ancestral traumas and triggers. And we have an amazing therapist on here, Counselor Cree. She's going to talk to us. Now, Cree, she is, she's an amazing mama. She's an amazing therapist. She's just an amazing spiritual human being. Also found out she be doing, the scrubs and the butters, and she got the alchemy hands as well. Sis is just very well-rounded. And so I want to go ahead and bring her in here right now so we can get this conversation started. Because, like I said before, it's going to be good. So, Cree, if you can do me a favor, request to join for me, please. Or maybe oh, she did it. Okay, I see. Hey, Rom. All right. Is it doing it? I accept it.
Wait, there you go.
Yay!
Oh, I did it. Yay. Hey, I did it.
How are you doing, man?
I am well. How are you?
I'm amazing. You know, the day is good. I cannot complain. I'm a little hungry though, but
I know, right? I know, right? As soon as I got on, I kind of was like, oh man, I need some food in my life.
right.
But that's how it always works. So I'm excited to be here. Peace to everybody getting on. Hey, I see some of my friends coming in. Hey, y'all. Hey, what up? I see the Lucretia. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Peace and
Pretty
blessings, everybody.
IG live veteran. I just want to say she goes live. What day is it again?
Every Thursday. So we're right back tomorrow. Every Thursday at 12:30 Eastern and 11:30 Central Time, and just that. So yeah, we're right back. We're right back Thursday.
Yeah, okay, all right. So Cree, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
I can. And let me just say, I'm looking at the comments as we go. Armstrong White, I can never forget you. I say, who will battle? Some of my battle buddies are on from military, like back in the day. So I who will battle. So about me, as Khadijah said, I'm Cree Cunningham, LCSW. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I am a boy mom. Avid traveler. I love traveling. I'm originally from Chicago, now based here in ATL. I operate a private practice for therapy, wholeness, and wellness. And basically, I sit at the intersection of spirituality and mental health. So my purpose here is to merge the two and to help those that I'm assigned to navigate what that looks like with being a spiritual being and balancing our mental health and our whole health. And so, yeah, I think that's it. I am a straight Chicago girl, y'all. So understand, I am the South Side all day. I am what you see is what you get. So I'm excited about this conversation for my friends that are joining and even people that just popped in and don't know. Khadijah is the truth, y'all. Let me tell you. So this spiritual with the bag whole experience is what you need in life. And so I'm excited that we're able to collaborate and bring y'all good conversation on this day, because we'll get into what this day represents and means and how it comes full circle. But I'm gonna just say, if you're here, you might want to take this opportunity and tag a friend, send them a message, tell them to join in, because what's about to happen is going to be definitely life changing for those who step into the space. So let's go.
Ooh, Korea. See, okay, wait. See, this is why we invite the people with the good energy on here, because you saw she just came in there and was like, "This is what y'all need."
This is what we're here for. This is what we're here for.
This is what I'm saying. Okay, so what inspired you to be a therapist?
Oh, basically, I have sat in this space of listening to people my entire life. I've always advocated for people, even as a kid. Like, everyone came to my house. If someone had something going on in school, they talked to me about it. Even in the military, as I was going through my things and my challenges there, I was still advocating and reading regulations for everybody and kind of talking people down out of things. When I sat in the entertainment space, I did the same thing. It's like everywhere I go, people tend to tell me their life story from a hello, right? And so I just spent years advocating and kind of doing media, and then again, military, and then government. And I was working in the government. I was working for Department of Veterans Affairs, and I love serving veterans, but something just didn't connect. I wasn't able to really give them the whole type of service that I felt that they deserved. And so I would go to work and I would get headaches. Like, I would literally pull into the parking lot and get like a debilitating headache. And this went on for months. And so then I kind of took a leave of absence, and I heard, walk away. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. And so I'm like, but this is some good money, like it's some good money. And I just kept hearing psychology and therapy, and you need to help people deal, and do what you do already, but do it professionally. So I walked away from my good government job with my mortgage and everything else. And started to go back to school. I had children in the process, and then was just like, I was led, literally everything lined up for me to go back to school, go into social work, go into clinical social work, and it was paid for. So I was able to come out without loans, and knew that that's right. I knew that that's what I was supposed to be doing. And so that led me to the therapeutic space. People talk to me, even though I say I'm not very inviting. Something about my spirit tells people to be like, no, go holler at her. And then I can't say no, right? And so that just led me here. But being able to teach people how to advocate for themselves, right? How to listen to spirit, how to learn what intuition looks like and feels like and operate within that. That charges me. Even when the work is taxing, that just, it gives me life. And so I just decided to go ahead and follow. You can only run for so long. Like, I love radio, I love entertainment, I love being on the road, but you can only run for so long. So here I am.
One, the energy, just the energy from you talking about that alone, I feel like is just charged, right? It's charged full of that, like, I listen to my intuition feeling, right? That kind of energy where, I don't know, I was listening to your story, and for me, I just heard you actually listening to yourself, right? When your inner self was like, hold on, wait, this money is great, but this is not serving me. You're supposed to do something else. Hold on, wait, I got a plan for you, but you got to be faithful, understand that there's something greater out there for you, and stop what you're doing and start on this whole new journey and not look back. And so the fact that you're able to do that, and like you said, the doors is opening up, you went for free.
But it goes into the conversation that we had even just coming up now, because when we're talking about the conversation of ancestral traumas and generational traumas and things that were passed down, my family thought I was crazy. Like, because what we knew was, no, you work, you go, you got a good position, you stay, you work that 40 years or 45 years, you don't give up opportunities, because we didn't have opportunities for so long. It's like, when you do, you stay in there. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and go though. And so they were like, this girl done lost her mind, we're gonna have to commit her. Like, everybody was kind of like, what are you doing? But my grandmother, right? My grandmother, who is one of my main ancestors that I communicate with, when she was here, and she was like, you do what you have to do. You know what God put inside of you, and it's very different, and you understand the way that other people don't understand. And she had a conversation with me then about what was inside of me, and then the people that we came from, and how she made a way out of no way. She walked away from situations, right, to be in the spaces where she felt God called her to be. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, let's rock then. Let's rock. So yeah, man. So then, and we're here now.
That's actually an amazing point, though. Right? We often will think about, when we embark on new journeys, we're really scared, or we don't want to start, or like we're nervous about it, and we're like, we're just gonna stick with the ordinary. But actually, our ancestors have been creating their own lane and their own path, even in the midst of the muck and the shit and the things that they did not deserve. They still created their own way and allowed for you to be here. So why are you allowing yourself to be stuck into something that don't even serve you?
Exactly.
Ooh, talk about a journey.
It is. I tell people all the time, I feel like I've lived 5 lifetimes in this one, and I'm still going. So, it's all about evolution and the elevation and what comes next. So, yeah, that's me. That's it.
It really is. It really is. So the next question that we have here, this is one of my favorites. So I feel like the internet is full of like ancestral trauma memes and like think pieces and these really quick blanket short square explanations that are just like, I feel like it takes a whole giant worlds of history, and it puts it into this one little tiny box and is like,
right.
you know, if your parents gave you pain, ignore your parents, you know what I mean? Or if trauma runs in your family, you gotta stop it. But it does not explain, you know, what really is going on. It doesn't really paint the bigger picture, because it's not just a one-sided issue. This is like a big, huge topic.
Yes, yes. And my colleagues and I, and people that operate in the spiritual space and the clinical space, we literally like cringe at most of the things that we see, because a lot of times the memes and social media, what they teach people to do is to run, right? Or they teach people to ignore or to push, push it back. I don't see a lot that really, like you said, talks about the dealing with or the healing through, right? Is like, oh, okay, if, create a boundary, and then creating that boundary, close the door and keep going. And it's like, wait. What clinician have you spoke to? We don't just create a boundary and close a door. What we do is we approach it, and in the boundary there is a healing process that happens, right? And so a lot of the things that we see with the IG healers now, because everybody is a healer and a light worker, right?
Yep.
And so what we see is them giving people the okay to run away. We see them giving people the okay to not deal, and that in itself creates generational traumas, right? Because now we're just continuing the cycle of not having conversation, not having dialogue, not really going through a process of true healing. Because I tell clients, and pretty much anybody I talk to all the time, because now the buzzword is trigger, right? Everybody's triggered by everything.
Trigger or narcissist, like.
Exactly. And I'm like, well, let's talk about what a trigger really is and how it impacts you, right? Because you have triggers when you've had an experience, right? And so then you relive, or you're reminded of the experience. However, when you are healed from a thing, then it doesn't trigger you in the same way. If you're triggered by something, then typically there is a part of you that hasn't come to peace and wholeness with that thing. Right. And so then that's when that tells you that there's still work to do. And I'm not saying that you won't be reminded. I'm not saying that you may not even be slightly pricked, but you won't be triggered, right? Because you're only triggered when there is something there that actually pulls the trigger. But when you heal from it, you can have that thing staring you right in the face, because the process of healing is a mirror, right? And so when you've looked in the mirror at something long enough, you learn how to work through it. When you work through with someone that can walk you through it, because a lot of times I tell people, like, be careful of who you go to for healing, and who you go to for spirituality, and who you go to for light work, right?
That part.
Because everyone isn't called to do this work. And even when going to coaches, even a coach can help you kind of get from A to B. But when you're dealing with traumas, a coach is not trained to take you from where you are back to where it started, and then walk you back through and bring you to present, so that you can get to the future parts of it, right? So we miss so many steps. But everybody's like, no, create a boundary. Go the other way. You don't have to acknowledge it. It doesn't exist, but it does, because it's always going to exist in your heart and in your DNA. But we'll talk about that, as we continue.
See, I'm sorry, y'all. This is why I like talking to Cree, because Cree just start going, and then you be like,
I know. I was like, hold on, let me pause. You might have another question.
No, I'm listening to you. That made me think about the reason why I wanted to talk about ancestral trauma. One, it's Black History Month, and there's, as much as I love Black History Month, I'm also like tired of we talk about so much pain we went through, and so much, and I just be like, I am dog ass tired. Like, I acknowledge it, right? I acknowledge the pain, but it could just be a little exhausting, right? Because we're not I don't know, Black History Month can be a little exhausting for me, right? But I thought it was important for us to talk about our ancestral like pain and our traumas, but also highlight, right, like our treasures, right, and the beautiful things that happen and the beautiful things that are passed down. The same way that your grandma was like, hey, I made a way out of no way, so baby, you can make a way
Right.
for yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Oh my God. And specifically, I wanted to bring up this. You had a live and you were talking about our families, right?
Right.
And oftentimes we will feel like our family didn't give us the love that we needed growing up, right? But in actuality, it's like, did they have the same tools that we had?
Yes.
You know, what was passed down to them? So I just guess I wanted to really dig deep into what you think about like ancestral traumas, you know, and even treasures.
Okay. So that was one of the lives I did, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, for everybody jumping on. I do a segment, Therapeutic Talk Tokens, on Thursdays. So you can go back to kind of get deeper into that. I say the lives on my page. But so when we deal with family dynamics and the ancestral traumas and treasures, right? What we often let me start here. Everyone creates their own narrative, right? We all have a story. Just like, it's like come in, introduce myself, and then I tell you my story based off my perception of what my life has been like, right? And so everyone has a story and a narrative. And oftentimes in our families, we don't break down those stories and we don't break down those narratives. And so we don't talk about them. There's so many secrets. And then there are so many things that aren't addressed that we can't get to the baseline of what we didn't get or what we did get. And then in family dynamics, I really talked about on that live how we all, and we've heard it now because it's buzzing everywhere, but we all have love languages. And so when a parent doesn't understand the concept of a love language, or how a person receives love and how a person gives love. For those people that are a little hip to astrology, right? We have a Venus. Our Venus is how we show love, how we give love, and how we receive love, right? So if you don't have a core understanding of what that means for you, and then what that means for the person that you're dealing with, then a lot of times we miss the mark, right? So a parent can, because of the things that we've been through, coming from enslavement and being ripped apart and families going everywhere else and searching and everything like that, a lot of what love started to look like for people of color was protection, right? And providing resources, having food, shelter, clothing, making sure that you have opportunities that I don't. So for a lot of our parents and our grandparents, they showed love by creating a way. But if your love language was physical touch or quality time, and you didn't get that quality time because they were hustling, trying to make sure that you had everything you needed so you didn't have to go through the struggles that they did, then you miss that mark, right? Your love language and their love language doesn't meet. There's not an understanding. So the parent or the caregiver can be sitting in a space like, but I'm showing you love. I'm breaking my back. I'm doing what I need to do because I want you to be better than me. And you're like, but I just want you to sit with me. I just want you to sit. And so a lot of times when it comes to the traumas are passed down because we don't have a meeting of the heart, mind, and spirit when we're having these family conversations, if the conversation occurs.
Yeah, right? Must it take place at all.
If it takes place. The other side of the coin is not all of us have been allowed spaces to have open conversation, because in most of our heritage, it's be seen and not heard, right? Our children don't have voices, not because parents didn't value, but coming up in enslavement and Jim Crow, you could not speak. Speaking could have everyone assassinated, right? So you had to be quiet. And so that was passed down through the generations. So not that I don't value your mind, not that I don't value your voice, but I value your life and I want you to be here. So I'm teaching you to not speak unless you're spoken to, right? But coming up in a new generation now, we're like, oh, you just don't want to hear what I have to say. So now I'm bruised, right? And now I'm hurt because I don't feel heard. I don't feel seen, right? I don't feel like I can take up space, right? And
Right.
that is the trauma part that we have to start talking about and working through. But in that same breath, we had some of the most hustling, moving, and shaking people that taught us how to be enterprising. Taught us that even if you work this 9 to 5, you know how to mix these butters, or you know how to do those braids, right? Or you know how to paint this there. So we had enterprising ancestors that taught us how to make a way out of no way, right? We had enterprising ancestors that taught us the treasures of our skills, of our ancestry, of our traditions. And we oftentimes forget that because the unmelanated world likes us to sit in the pain and the trauma. Because if we're sitting in pain and we're sitting in trauma, then we can't see the light on the other side of it. Right?
Ooh.
Our jobs, now that we have this new existence, now that we can create the spaces like we've done here, we are able to come together and be like, all right, now let's talk about it. Like, yeah, there was pain. Yep, there were secrets. Yep, we're exposing the secrets. We're bringing it out. We're talking about it. We're healing. But at the same time, I'm honoring the sacrifice. I'm honoring the blood, the sweat, the tears. I'm honoring the grandmas and the aunties that took you in a back room and taught you how to mix up lotions and potions and soups and teas to heal yourself, right? We're honoring the spaces that they couldn't live out loud in, right? They had to be quiet. They had to do it in secret. And so a lot of times we think that that is a trauma. But the beauty of where we are now is that we can literally transform the things that were seen as trauma and turn them into treasures because we can do it out loud. And that's our cause now. That's our calling now, to be in the forefront, right? To come out, to step out, right? And you know what I'm saying? To just do the damn thing.
Do the damn thing.
Period.
Yeah, I'm not laughing. It is just, I don't know if y'all feel this energy. I feel like you be spitting. Okay. You know what? I live on the internet way too much, so memes. And the first thing I heard was Dylan. I spit hot fire, but just like you was just but you were on the money, and these are things that we don't necessarily talk about, and it's not really why.
Like, I'm looking at the comments, and he's like the uncles that taught barbering and moonshining, right? That,
like, yeah, it's a very one-sided kind of conversation as far as like, yeah, I'm gonna be better than my ancestors, or like, just that kind of conversation when it's like, it's much deeper, right? The things that they went through allow for us to be who they are, right? Who we are, right? And we must be able to honor that, like you said, and have an understanding, be able to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, right?
Absolutely.
Some of the things that we went through with our parents or with our ancestors, it's not our fault. And it's not, I don't want to say it's damn near not their fault, but it's conditioning. You know what I mean? Exactly. And we don't recognize that. How are we able to, one, heal and move on? Because we still looking at them like they not enough. And they like, I didn't give you everything I got.
And that's the truth. A lot of our parents and caregivers and uncles and aunties and moms and dad, they gave us what they had. They worked with what they had, where they were, and their understanding. Because we also have to realize that a lot of our ancestors and our parents that are still living, they were working and doing and living through pain as well, living through trauma, living through eras of change, right? And so as they're trying to keep the family together, they're also working and lobbying for generations to come so that we could live different, right? And so we have to give space to that. And we have to understand that what we are in, what we see, what we've come through, like you said, it wasn't our fault, right? Some of it, that shit should have been stopped. We just gone, some of it, just bam, it should have been stopped. But a lot of it is conditioning, even with, and I'm gonna go here, even with spanking and popping our children, right? That was conditioning because that is how we were kept in line, right? And so then that's what we knew. So then we started doing with our children. And the way that we heal is by changing the behavior, changing the mindset, changing our thought process, and changing the narrative, right? Because when we become adults, the one thing that we have control over is our thoughts and then our actions and our reactions, right? So if we, as this generation, can, number one, do things differently for ourselves and within ourselves, once we start healing, then we do something different with our children, right? And we start breaking chains. We start loosing strongholds. And what I really want people to understand is that when you change and then you change the next generation, what you do is you cause freedom for yourself. You cause freedom for generations to come. But energetically and spiritually, you set your ancestors free, right? You set your ancestors free.
I'm going to say that again. Wait. Because that, I feel like that's big.
That's so big, and we don't get that. So let me try to run it back. When you change, right? When you free yourself and your mindset, your thoughts, your actions, right, and then you do that for the next generation and even the people that are around you, because it doesn't have to just be for, that can be linear as well. You can do that for your cousins, your aunties, your siblings. But when you heal, and then you change behaviors and then encourage that same healing and change behaviors in the next generation, energetically and spiritually, you heal your lineage. You heal your ancestry. For those of us that, do ancestor work, right? There's a practice where we burn ancestor money. And the process or the purpose of that is to allow our ancestors the currency that they need to repay whatever debts and become free. Right? It's the same thing that we do today. If you owe somebody, once you pay that up, that debt is gone.
It's gone. It's free.
But we have to start looking at our ancestral traumas in that way. Once you heal, you create freedom. You create an open line and an open path for freedom and for release. But you can only be free when you release. So if you're still holding on to it, then you're not free. If you're still triggered by it, you're not free from it.
If you're not even willing to see the bigger picture or to even understand where they're coming from, are you really, are you free? I even had me and my dreams. I have.
Right. I love your dreams though. I love you with the dreams.
But at one point I had a family member, an older family, my grandpa. Love my grandpa. He on IG, so he ain't gonna be able to see this. If anybody, my family member, don't tell him, whatever. But, me and my grandpa kind of got into it about something for a minute. And I was having a really hard time understanding his perspective. On the phone, he was trying to explain it, but it still just felt like him being like, this is how I feel, and this is what it is, and we just weren't really connecting. And then I had this dream. And in the dream, he came to me and he sat, and we had this really vulnerable moment, and he was like, look, like, I acted the way that I did and I behaved the way that I did because, how can I say this without telling all the things? He was saying because it was conditioned, right? And the way he saw it was like, and I want to be protected. And this is how I know how to be protective, right? And so, if someone is not in the everyday line of like, you wake up, you go to work, you work this 9 to 5. If you stepping outside of that, for me, it's like, oh man, like this might be unstable. And so I have, strong feelings around that, right? And in the dream, he just broke it down and was like, that was my way of being protective of the people that I love, but I didn't understand how I was hurting people. And I apologized. And I woke up and I was just like, oh, shoot. But it was just such a really interesting dream because it allowed for me to see the bigger picture, right? And to understand that, yeah, I had some hurt, but it was bigger than my hurt, right? And also for him to understand that, like, the impact of how he acted. I don't know, it just having that understanding and be able to see the greater picture really allowed for me to move forward in my healing with my family.
That's a really good point, especially for us who still have, older parents and grandparents and, you know, aunties and uncles and relatives who are older and who are still in their conditioned frame of mind, right? The first thing that we have to do is, again, start having the conversations, you know, coming to them and sitting down and respectfully, this is my perspective. Respectfully, this is how I feel. And I want to understand your perspective because I don't want to continue going through life having this view and living in this narrative and this story based on how I felt and not understanding where you're coming from. So even if we don't agree in this conversation, I want us to be able to hear one another because overall, I love you and I understand that you love me, right? But it may have not looked the way that I thought it should look. You know, it may have not felt the way that I thought it should feel, right? So can we talk, right? You know, and some of them will be open and some won't. But you have to understand too that when a person isn't open, they aren't ready. And we can't force anyone to do anything, right? Because everyone has free will. But that doesn't mean that your work has to stop with it, right? You still continue to do what it is that you need to do to release yourself and to free yourself. Because once people cross over, right, into that spiritual realm, everything looks different, you know? And the same thought processes that they had here, there's a different understanding, right? And so I think a lot of times we get stuck in wanting to change someone's ideas, change someone's thoughts, and change someone's beliefs, right? And when we're sitting in that space, that's ego. That's our ego. I feel this way, and I want you to feel that way too because I feel like you should. And anytime you do something from a space of ego, it's never going to go past the surface, right? So when you come into a conversation, you know, in a space of ego and your chest pokes out because you're going to hear what I have to say. That energy that you bring to the conversation automatically puts a window shade up to that person that you're talking to. So nothing that you say is going to penetrate that window shade. You might as well be standing talking to a wall because it's the energy that you bring into it. But when you come into a conversation, even when you come into a prayer and a meditation, because it may be someone that you can't reach. They may be in a space where they're just not going to hear it. But just because you can't talk to them physically, it doesn't mean you can't go into prayer and meditation and speak to their heart. It doesn't mean you can't go into prayer and meditation and speak to their spirit, right? Because spirit is all around. Spirit is going to continue to flow. So their physical may not understand, but I'm going to go in my war room over here, right? And I'm going to talk to your spirit. And I'm going to tell you the things that I need you to hear so that I can release myself. And my prayer is going to be that it penetrates your spirit. Whether it penetrates now, 5 years from now, or once you cross over. I'm going into that space knowing and believing that the healing is going to happen, right? Because we have to walk into a space that no matter what, I am going to be healed. I am healed, right? So it's the position. So we have to enter into this space of healing with love and openness and understanding rather than ego and you did this and you did that. And sometimes it's hard for us to get outside of our hurt to even get into that space. And that's why I tell people all of the time, you can heal yourself on different levels, but sometimes you need a little assistance, right? Sometimes you need a little bit of help to help you step outside of you. Sometimes you need a person that's going to hold a mirror to you. Like, nah, baby. All right, step on some toes a little bit. And it may be uncomfortable, you know, in the process. It may be uncomfortable. But once you get to that space of peace, there's no comfort like it.
I can listen to Cree all day. I'm sorry.
You're so silly.
Like this because I'm all up in the conversation. Like, oh, she talking to me. You even got me. I was like, oh, that's why he came to me in my dream. It's because both of our egos was doing like this, and I wasn't even able to understand him and where he was coming from. But it was in a dream. Well, for me, in the dream, I am more open. I am more vulnerable. I am, I'm able to have that kind of conversation.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, I didn't even realize that until talking right now. I'm like, oh, Cree.
Oh wait, we have a question. Do you mind if I take this question? Because I see
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So it says, what is it? Obio Jones? Do you know that? Okay. Oh, I said it right. Look at me. What's the difference in holding someone accountable and ego? Ooh. Okay. So okay. Boom. Okay. So when you hold someone accountable, right? You are speaking to the action, right? You're speaking to the behavior, right? And you are also speaking from a place of I feel.
Mm.
Because a lot of times, and when you go into it with the space of ego, that's an easy way. When you are holding someone accountable, especially for an action, you go from a place of I feel, right? My perspective, how I experienced, right? That's holding them accountable to say, hey, this happened because we know this is fact. This happened, right? So like, let's just say you walked by and slapped me. We know that I got slapped, right? That's very evident that your hand hit my face.
Right.
So we know that there's a fact. So when we're holding them accountable, we go from a space of when this happened, I felt. Because now we're calling them to the feeling. And we're also acknowledging that there was a feeling that I had based off it. When we go into it with ego, we go into with the you did,
Story. Yeah.
You caused, you wanted to, right? So ego is more, ego is less understanding, right? Ego is I'm right. Ego is because of this, I'm this. It's a different position. And when you're just holding someone accountable, it's more of a space like, okay, look, so this happened. So let's talk about what happened. Like, we know that this action happened. What was the reason behind it? You know what I'm saying? I was impacted this way, right? Because it's okay to say, hey, I was impacted this way. Let's talk about what happened and why it happened, right? Can we break down what led us to this, right? And so if you are holding someone accountable, you're bringing to the forefront the facts, but you're also giving them, he said, because I'm a you. But
we all do that though.
But that's ego, because now we're going into it. When you go into something with ego with another person, you want them to know what they did and how they did it. You like, I want you to apologize. I want you to say you're wrong. I want you to do this, right? When the person they may have not felt that they did something wrong, right? Sometimes they don't. And sometimes conversation will allow you to make amends. But some people are just not going to be accountable. Let's be clear there. Some people are just not going to be accountable. That's not your deal. But when you're operating in ego, then they have to be accountable in order for you to feel okay with whatever happened. They have to be accountable in order for you to feel like you have some resolve. When you're just going in a space of peace to hold them accountable, then whether they receive it, whether they take responsibility or not, you're like, okay, I just wanted to address what it was. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I'm going over here. But then that's how you decide how you're going to deal with the person too. If they are just not being accountable for whatever it is, then you understand that this may be a place that you need to set a boundary, because they are not being accountable for whatever experience or trauma that they may have caused. And so now that because they won't be accountable, interacting with that person is going to cause you more harm or can put you in a more detrimental space. So then it's be like, all right, ego is going to be like, nah, bro, you gone say what you did. Accountability is going to be like, okay. So I hope that if we can't have this type of convo, it's a cutoff for me. True, it is. If you can't have a conversation, then you just know where the person is. But that's when you decide, right? Outside of ego, that's when you decide to heal from it anyway, in spite of, and then you move forward. Because what's going to happen is that person is going to sit in that. They're going to fester in that. They're going to feel that, and they're going to keep repeating that. You don't have to repeat it. You don't have to repeat it with them. You don't have to stay in the cycle with them. That's a choice. Everything that we do is a choice. We can choose to move in understanding. We can choose to move in ego. We can choose to move in peace. We can choose to move in chaos and war. It's a choice.
Sorry, all of that. We can choose all of that, like Cree. But this is what I'm talking about, y'all. I told y'all this was going to be good. I was telling y'all this is going to be good because it's Cree. Y'all, whenever I joined her live, I think the first time I joined her live, she like called me out, but it was what I needed though. But like the first time I've joined her live, it's always been like spitfire, straight to it.
You volunteered though. I'm gonna say you volunteered to jump on.
Did. No, but that's the thing. I like having these conversations. This is why we doing bag talks in the first place, right? I enjoy having these conversations because I'm all about growing. I'm all about like trying to heal and change myself. And I don't want to say change myself, right? Because I am great who I am, right? But I'm all about opening up my mind to new understandings, right?
Absolutely.
And so when we had a live and I volunteered to go up there and it was about spiritual in the bag. It was about this, actually.
It was about this.
Oh my God. And she basically was like, what I see, because she be reading people too, which Cree does a lot of stuff. I can't even like get into all the things that she does. But she basically was like, you know, what I see for you is that like your bag is there, right? And it's big and it's plentiful, but you keep stopping in the flowers to smell the flowers, roll around in the flowers, walk around in the flowers, but you're not going to your bag. Like it's there, you know it's there, but you're just taking your sweet ass time. And I was like, oh, shit. And she was right though. She was right, because that's what I was doing. I was taking my sweet ass time. Everything was an excuse, whether it was like, oh, my job is really hard. I'm an executive assistant. I can't get this done and do that. Or, oh, I can't. Like, it was all these excuses. And so even when starting this, that was playing in the back of my mind, like, the flowers is great. Atlanta party life is awesome. I love partying. Going out is great. Spending money is awesome. But I can cuss. This is my show. Bitch, you need to focus.
Right. And let me say this, because I need the people to know this. Trust and understand, I need y'all to know this. I am a conduit. This is not me. Anything that I say, that I speak, that comes out, the things that I do, the spaces that I operate in, it's not because I'm just, I'm dope as hell. Let me just say that I'm dope as fuck, right? But however, this is me stepping out of the way and allowing spirit to work through me to be able to get the messages to whoever they get to. Because there was a time that I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't sit in a space like this because it wasn't okay for the masses, right? And because of the spaces that I operate in, when I was heavily in church and then just doing traditional therapy and stuff like that, reading people and being open to spirit isn't okay, or it wasn't okay. So it took me being like, all right, y'all got it, to step out of the way. I had to get out of me, right, to be able to do this, because operating in me would have said maybe one or two things that made sense. But when I operate through spirit, whoever needs to hear is going to come out. I may not remember, like Khadijah just ran down that conversation, and now as she's saying, I'm like, oh, I kind of remember some of that. But when she was on the talk tokens, I don't remember what I said, because it wasn't me speaking. It was like, all right, we're doing this, spirit, I'm opening up, let me be protected, and please give me the information and what somebody needs to hear. Because I never want it to be me. Because me, Cree can be all over the place. Cree can be in some fuck shit, right? Because I can't shout. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no telling what Cree might be twerking on the table, because I will. You know what I'm saying? And we will. So I want everybody to understand that. And I did a talk token about this last week. And there's some follow-up stuff coming to this. But what you see here with me and with Khadijah is stepping outside of traumas, stepping outside of boxes, right? Stepping outside of conditioning and saying yes.
Yeah.
And then listening and then being open. Because one of the other treasures that our ancestors gifted us with is the ability, the opportunity, and the know-how to connect to spirit. Because ain't nobody do it like we do it. right? Can't nobody do it like we do it. I'm not trying to call out any other people and say, you know, other races and stuff are not gifted, but can't nobody do it like we do it, right? And so that's the treasure that they gave us. Even when they had to be in back rooms, even when they had to be, you know, in basements, even when they had to be in places where they had blankets and covers over them doing this work, right? This is one of the treasures that they gave us. Mm-hmm. We just get to do it out loud now. We get to have conversations about it now. We get to bring it to the masses, right? We get to be like, come on, you know what I'm saying? How they say, shake your shimmy. We get to do that. And we get to do it authentically, right? But that's the key, doing it authentically. So anytime I show up in a space like this, I'm showing up, but I'm showing up because I know how I'm guided. And I'm asking God in spirit and my ancestors and my team to show up, to meet me there. I be like, yo, don't even meet me there, beat me there. You know what I'm saying? So y'all can already clear the space because, you know, I might get over here and be talking about some, did y'all see that video of the other day? So, I mean, so that's just what it is. So I just appreciate this space to be able to come and, you know, talk about these things, to bring these conversations out, to allow people to ask questions. And if anybody else has questions, y'all feel free to, you know, throw them in while we're in here. What else you got, Khadijah? Talk to me nice. What else you got?
I just wanted to know, this is why I started Spiritual with the Bank, because I spent a lot of my time compartmentalizing myself, right? I felt like I couldn't be in corporate America and be spiritual. I couldn't do nonprofit and do this. I couldn't, you know, like to dress up and be all fancy.
And you too.
I couldn't, I felt like I couldn't do those things. And I was like putting myself through the fucking ringer, right? Mm-hmm. Feeling like I wasn't showing up enough spiritually. And then I thought I wasn't showing enough, you know, enough in my, you know, work and career side, until I realized it was like, no, I'm a culmination of all those things. I can be spiritual and, you know, got the bag, spiritual and luxurious, spiritual and balanced, spiritual and, you know, bought my money and my paper. Like, absolutely. I can do all of those things. So why the fuck am I not doing it? This is what I'm doing. So this is why. But I do have another question.
It is. It's the conditioning, because we've been conditioned that we can't. Mm-hmm. We've been conditioned that we have to sit in one space or the other. We've been conditioned that parts of us are not okay, right? Mm-hmm. We've been conditioned that parts of our spirituality is not okay. Parts of our spirituality is demonic. Parts of our spirituality is impure, right? We've been conditioned to those things, but, you know, when it shows up the way that it shows up, when it shows up, right? You can't question it. The energy that we have in this interaction, I can guarantee that anybody that's on this, even if they jump in for 30 seconds, they're going to feel it and take a piece of that deposit with them. Exactly. Right? Because we show up authentically. And it's like we said the other day in the chat, I want the whole of everything. In order to have the whole of everything, you have to be whole, right? Ooh. That means bringing together all parts of you. Like all parts.
Cree,
man, I'm just saying. Like, and it's 222. Like, this is about unity. You know what I'm saying? This is about understanding the past and moving forward, but moving forward into the space that you could create. Like, for those that don't know, if you don't ever write a plan down or write a vision down and make it plain, do it today. This is the day that it is open. Like, you can literally take this energy and create the life that you desire. So if you don't, it's because you chose not to, right? And in creating that, you heal things from the past. In creating that new dynamic, doors will open for you. Opportunities will open. Opportunities will open for you to grow. Opportunities will open for you to grow. And opportunities will open for you to elevate and heal. And when you do that, you take everybody with you. You take everybody behind you with you, and you take everybody in front of you with you, right? You heal what's behind you, and you create another pathway for what's in front of you. And if you got the opportunity to do that, right? Why not?
Why not?
Like, go be awesome. Go be fucking amazing. Because you can, because it's a birthright.
Why not take the time tonight to really set your intentions on how you will leave, because one day we're going to be ancestors, you know, how you will leave ancestral treasures along your path for generations to come. How you will create freedom and bounty within your past, so that way your lineage can reap the benefits of that, and that continues and continues, and you create a new path.
Right.
Like
and that is the key. So a lot of times people talk about what you need to do, but they don't give you the steps or tell you what to do to start. Right. So
my question, but you own it. Come on, girl.
So the first thing, right, is coming to terms with it. The first thing is being ready. And even if you don't feel like you're in a space of being ready, you just start. So then you can sit down and you can take inventory of the things that have pricked your heart, the things that you didn't understand about your family, right? The things that you may not even understand about yourself, right? So you write those things down so you understand what they are, because you cannot heal a thing if you haven't identified what it is. I talk about that all the time. You can't heal something if you don't know what it is. Uh-oh.
We here.
Okay, we here. It kind of lags on my end. So it is like, it's very simple. You cannot fix something that you don't understand or that you haven't identified. So that's the first step, identifying what it is that pricks you, identifying what it is that has harmed you or hurt you, right? Sometimes that looks like writing it down. You can have a conversation with the people in your life. I tell go see a licensed clinician, right? If it is some serious trauma, some childhood, some hurt, some generational stuff, see somebody that is licensed or that works in a profession that can help you go through it, that can take you back and safely bring you back, right? Because a lot of times you're going to have to go back into it. You're going to have to feel it, right? You're going to have to address it, and it may not feel good. So you need to be in a safe space where you can go through those things, but then that person brings you back to present safely.
Right.
So connecting with somebody. I tell people all the time, audition and interview therapists. Everybody is not for you, right?
I never thought about
Everybody is not for you. Every therapist, the first one that you see that your insurance tells you to go to because, you know, they're in network, may not be for you. Sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice that dinner out so you can self-pay for the person that works for you, right? So it's finding a clinician.
Question. Oh no.
Yes.
What does it look like to, I don't say to date a therapist, that's not what I meant. What does it mean to
interview?
Yeah.
That means like you can, first of all, I research everything. So I tell everybody, like, go to their websites, read their bios, Google them and see if there's something that they've done. Kind of look at like what their work is in, and if they specialize in what it is that you want or that you're going for. Especially like right now, social media is so big, so you can pretty much find people on social media or TikTok or something like that, and so you can see what they're doing, right? And then once you say, okay, let me try them out, call and ask for a consultation. Like, people will tell you, I don't see any client unless we do a consultation first. And I don't charge for consultations because I feel like everybody is not my assignment. Every client is not for me. And I will refer somebody out in a minute, because what I don't want to do is engage in that therapeutic relationship and then it's not meant for us to work together, and now you have to find somebody, because now you have to go through another process. So before you even get into the first session, call and see if you can ask questions like, hey, I'm interested in coming to you. I noticed your practice, blah blah blah. I wanted to know if you have 10 or 15 minutes for us to do a consultation. Do you offer complimentary consultations? Right? That's okay to do. And even if you find yourself, for people that work like 9 to 5s and stuff, EAP is a great way to interview therapists, because they'll give you 6 free sessions, right? Or 3 free sessions or 4 free sessions, depending on your insurance.
EAP?
Employee assistance program. So most companies have an employee assistance program, right? So you just go to your HR and ask them about it. And so then you can kind of audition or interview, not audition, but interview therapists without a commitment, because they give you these free sessions to see if it works. And when you get into the therapeutic space, then you ask questions. It's absolutely okay to be like, you know, may I ask you a few questions? What brought you into therapy? What do you love most about doing this work? What's your experience in this type of therapy, right? And so that's how you get to understand, like the first session, you don't have to go in and completely divulge your whole life. You don't have to be resistant. If it flows, it flows. But ask questions. You know, a lot of people are afraid to ask. So ask questions, right? So interview your therapists and your clinicians and your spiritualists even before you get started.
Interview your spiritualist.
Interview.
I about that, and all I'm gonna say is take your damn time,
Yes.
understand who they are, their energy, where they learn their shit from. Okay?
Know who you
not
work
everybody.
with. Not everybody. Know who you. I learned that one the hard way. Know who you're working with, right? And so then that's part of the process. So you identify what it is that you want to work through. You find someone that is aligned with you, right? Because you have to find somebody that is in alignment with you. And I do believe that when you are serious and you are ready and you take the time and you put your energy into being led to that person, the spirit will lead you, right? To who you need to work with. So once you have found the person that you're working with, then you go through a process of, I tell all my clients, let's start off with the top 3 things, right? And work our way through versus coming with 15 things and then now you're all over the place. Because what happens when you work all over the place, then your mind goes all over the place. And so it's going to be very difficult for you to really process through a thing when you're pulled in 15 different directions. So you have to be able to focus. Go into it with a clear, open heart and space. Don't go into it with ego where I want to get my healer so I can go tell them what they did. Go into it in a space where I want to be at peace. I want to have relief. And I want to be able to move forward. Right. And then you can start going through the processes. And then there are different type of interventions or rituals that you can do, writing letters and burning them. You know, I do a lot of that with my clients because there is a certain connection with your brain and your spirit when you see something burned, right? Because that represents that thing being destroyed. Once something is burned to ash, you can't put it back together. You know, even if you wet something up, you know what I'm saying? You can probably wet it up and you still may be able to piece it together. Once something is burned, there's no way to bring it back.
Exactly. It is done.
It's done. And that's how you have to do with those things. Once you release them, you have to let them go.
Yeah.
You know, so going through different interventions, you know, there are therapeutic interventions and then there's spiritual rituals and things that you can do throughout this process of healing from the traumas and, you know, and just basically connect with somebody. If you don't know, connect with somebody. If you do know, then just have accountability partners even. You know, people that can hold you accountable and that can hold space for you when you need support. That's the other thing. And that's the one of the final things that I want people to really understand. When you're going through this process of healing, especially from ancestral traumas, so that you can relish and relic in the treasures, you need to make sure that you're in a supported space. Because although we have everything that we need, we also need support. Sometimes you need somebody to just sit with you as you process, right? You may not need somebody to talk your ear off, but you may need somebody to just hold space. So make sure that you have the support that you need so that you really can move through it. So you're not feeling alone, right? So you're not feeling completely overwhelmed, right? And so these things are not able to overtake you because we still have life, right? We still have life. So I hope that helped.
I hope y'all had out y'all pen and paper because Shawty was telling us a whole bunch of things that we need to do. Things, I don't want to say we don't have to do anything.
Because it's a choice.
Exactly. All of this is a choice. But if you came to this live on this particular day, at this particular time, there is something about you and about your spirit and about your soul that is like, hey, baby, it's time for some change. right? And I would listen to that. So if there's something from this conversation that maybe that triggered you or maybe made you think about something else, like take the time to work on it, to work on yourself, to whether it's go to therapy or, go to your spiritual healers. Also ask good people about who they go to. Like Cree is a good person to ask. Like, there are people who know who to connect you to, because like we said before, not everybody.
Not everybody.
I do have, we kind of spoke about this question a little bit, and I know it's almost time to go, but I want to bring it up just one more time. Like I said before, eventually we will be ancestors of our own lineage,
Mm-hmm.
What is something that we can do? Oh, I guess it's going to therapy. Well, I was going to say, what are some of the things that we can do now to ensure that we continue to pass down our family gems, like we create and pass that down. Like, what does that look like?
Outside of therapy, one of the things that we can do is create an open space within our families, within your children, within your siblings. Create an open space where dialogue can take place, right? Because you can only heal in a space that is prepared for healing, right? You can't go to a kitchen with no stove and then cook a hot meal.
Right.
So that is the biggest thing that we can do. Start to talk, start to communicate, start to just prepare space and have dialogue and ask questions and lead with love, right? That's one of the biggest things you can do. In all your actions, lead with love. So that is the first thing that is seen, and that's the first thing that is felt and heard, right? So when you lead with love, then that automatically gives the other parties a sense of being settled, right? And so then we can have it. And then stop being so secretive. Teach the things, teach the recipes, right? Teach the secrets, right? Teach all of the things that we will learn. We have to stop being so secretive about everything. That doesn't mean you go tell everybody your family recipe and then some person is distributed in Target next week.
No. Gentrifier is gentrifying it.
Right. We're not talking about that. But within your family, teach them. Teach the kids your recipes. My children are 5 and 7, and they're cooking with me, right? When I'm making butters, sometimes not every time, but when I'm making products, like I let them see what I do. I go into their classrooms, right? And into the different spaces that they're in. And I have these same conversations. I teach an emotional awareness, and I share my gifts with my children and my children's friends and community so that they understand what it looks like. Because if I don't teach them how to be authentic and how to be open and how to operate in this space, then they won't know. If I don't teach them that it's okay for you to have these gifts that you have. If you're hearing something, what are you hearing? Let's talk about it so we know where it's coming from, right? I'm teaching them and I'm letting them be who they are. That's another way that you can pass down the treasures. Let people be who the fuck they are. Let these kids be who they are, because children know what they're supposed to do when they come into this lifetime, because they choose to come, right? And they know what they're supposed to do. And you see them doing it when they're very young. You see them operating in the spaces. But a lot of times we become conditioned by what people think we're supposed to do. As parents, we have an idea of what we want our children to be, right? The best way to pass down ancestral treasures is let them do what they do. Because 9 times out of 10, half of the things that they're doing are coming from stuff that's inside of their DNA. The same way trauma is passed down in our DNA, treasures are passed down in their DNA, right? So when somebody just comes and has a affinity for herbs, they didn't just wake up one day and was like, oh yeah, I know all the herbs. That's passed down in our DNA, right? Somebody's grandmother's grandfather may have been a medicine man that healed people with herbs and plants and garden. Let them operate how they do. Allow children and people to be who they are. Create a space of authenticity, right? And that starts with you. When you're authentic, then you can allow the people to be around you authentic, because now you're no longer pricked or irritated by them living out loud, whether they're living in extra, you know, where they're living in too, like nothing is ever too much, right? But when you're comfortable in who you are, then you can allow people to be who they are. And that's how we really get to those treasures, because those things that are inside of them, they start to come up and out, and then nurture them.
We're supporting that, right?
Support it, nurture it, talk about it, have conversation about it. So then we have an understanding of like what your family is. Some families were known for, like, you know, some people just got like all the cooks, right? Like some people, like everybody in their family can cook. You like, damn, like y'all just woke up and was like, mix it up. And it's like, yes, because that is an ancestral treasure. Like your people and your people's people came up with half of these recipes that we eat today.
So or even dreams, like dreams within my family, and we don't really talk about it that much. I'm actually the most vocal one out of everybody, right? But it's been passed down. Great grandma, great grandma, you know, my grandma, my mother, my other, you know, some of my other siblings, me, like, and I'm sure that when I have children, that'll be passed down. Absolutely. As well, right? Like those are gems.
Those are gems. Those are. And you know, and that's the thing. When we talk about it, we allow it to live. So if I had to say anything, that would be the thing. You have to allow the things to live. Allow the gifts to live. Right? We have been conditioned to kill so much. We have buried so much. So if we want to truly honor our ancestors and the gems and the treasures and the things that they left us, either in our DNA or by skill and design and teaching, we have to allow them to live. And we allow them to live by living authentically and living to the fullness of who we are. Like if y'all don't get everything, anything else, live. Understand you got to live in the whole of everything of who you are.
Everything in order to experience the whole of
everything. What if you can't identify anyone in your ancestry with the same gift? Or the health bay asked a question, what if you can't identify anyone in your ancestry?
I'm a ma'am.
Oh, anyone is with your gift. Then sometimes what happens if you can't identify anybody in your ancestry, then that means that it could have been suppressed because of whatever situation that happened, or, you know, what they went through. But if you identified in you, then that's exactly what we're talking about. That thing, that gift, that treasure understands that now I can come out. Now we can live out loud. So then that means you bring it back to life. You bring it full circle, because even if they're not here in this plane, you bringing it full circle allows, because y'all, timing is an illusion. So everything that we do and we operate in here, that sets free and that changes back there. So you live out loud in that. You operate in that, right? Because okay, can we do this, Khadijah? Because
yo, look, you know how I feel about you.
Okay,
do how you want to do what you want to do.
So health bay, like I know of you a little bit, but I don't know. But I know that you do juices and you were like in some healing aspects, right? So that is part of your ancestry. People were healers. They understood how to take plants and things around them and make it something. Also, like we said, alchemy. Like there's an alchemy with food and herbs, right? And so you've kind of just been dabbling in it a little bit, like, oh, maybe a little bit right over here. But now, boo, you got to do that. Like, do it. And without the worry of what people would think or how it's going to be received, or even whether it's kicking off or whether it's growing large or whether it's getting big. Like, oh, I'm kind of doing this, but nobody is really, or I don't know. Nah, you're supposed to be doing it. But when you focus your heart there, right? So I'm gonna come a little bit closer so you can see me. When you focus your heart there, right? And you focus your intention there, then those things are going to start jogging in your mind. It's things that you haven't seen, but it's people that is coming through, talking to you and playing in you and allowing them to erupt. So you got to hone in and be like, all right, y'all, if this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. And then start connecting so that you can have peace with what you're doing, so that it can come out. right? But if you kind of still like, I don't know, maybe, that confusion, the confusion is a roadblock. The confusion causes an obstacle. So get unconfused. It's probably not a word, but get clear about what you're doing and why you're doing it. That's the message. Get clear.
Can I jump in for 1 second?
Yep, go ahead.
Our next guest next week is Health Bay.
Oh.
And so I feel like it was almost perfect. It's perfect that we had this conversation, because one of the reasons, she has an amazing juice business. She is incredibly gifted when it comes to helping people heal and knowing what people need in order for their body to rejuvenate. Like, she knows that. But sorry, Jess, I don't know how much you want to talk about this, but Shardy is like spiritually that. She's very gifted in that way.
Yeah, I feel that.
And I just felt like people needed to see that, right? Yes, she juices, right? But
it's so much more, though. It's so much more.
Right. It comes, like you said, her juices, the things that she knows. This is how God works. The things that she knows, it almost like it's like an instant knowing. Like, I know because I know, but like you said, it's an ancestral, way back lineage, special spiritual kind of thing.
Because what I'm hearing is they've been waiting on you. Like, they have been waiting on somebody to show up in that space, right? So they can be like, yo, this is what we're doing. So that's when I was like, it's almost like it's just coming. Like, that's the image that I get, like an old school Rolodex, because you know how I get these images and visions. So, the old school Rolodex that got all of the cards and all of the numbers with all of the information, and people just flip through to find. That's what I see in her mind, like a Rolodex, and it just comes and comes. But she got to get clear. She got to get clear about what she's going to do and if she's going to do it. I mean, it's a choice. You ain't have to. You don't have to. You kind of do have to, but you gotta do. But yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize. I don't even know her. I'm sorry. I kind of just went all into your business. But
look, we're gonna talk about it next week. But the way God has positioned her, ain't no choice but to do it, because she knows like God, literally, she's positioned in this way where it's like, she's gonna be great.
Oh, she said, second time I've been told they're waiting on you. All right, well, I mean.
Don't let them keep telling you. Like I said, this conversation, sorry, I'm so hyped. This conversation it's so good.
It is.
The energy between us, we just can't help it, right?
Yeah.
We're a part of the Daughters of the Divine. Shout out to you, Mona Sade. Y'all know watch y'all out literally every live I do. But that's my point. Just dope people in dope places. But it's that, but then it's also the energy of this particular day. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much that is happening right now. So blessings to y'all that are on this live. Like, blessings. Yeah. Oh, but different. Yeah. I didn't realize they were my ancestors. Woof. So we had to have this conversation about our ancestral
traumas. She's next week. Oh, I love.
Look how God worked. Look how it worked.
I just want y'all to know, I didn't know that. I don't know her, and I had no clue that she was coming on next week. It just was like ping, and I was like, that's part of being obedient. Even when it's like, all right, well, it might be out there, and I don't know, but this is what This was good. This was good.
This is good. I have run out of my questions.
I hope everyone was able to get something from the conversation. And even if that was just good energy, then, our work is done.
Right. Step into it, shimmy in it, live in it. As a matter of fact, if you're on here, I want to send another reminder to really take time and write out how you envision your life, right? Write out your plan, especially tonight. I mean, like tonight, while this energy is good, really sit there and write out your plan. Write out what you want to do, what you want to be. Even write out, and while you're doing this, think about your ancestors. and all that they have, the spaces that they have created for you, right? And think about your future lineage and all the spaces that you are going to create for them. And let that energy really like marinate while you're writing this stuff out so we can create something special, because that's what we're here to do.
What we're here to do.
We free. We have the ability to be free. Not all of us are free, but we have the ability to be free. And if we have that ability, what the fuck are we doing not doing it? Because we spent so much of our time and so much of our energy and so much of just everything not being free, knowing what it's like to just lay in trauma, knowing what it's like to just lay in negativity, knowing what it's like to always be like, we spend so much time doing that shit.
Yeah.
So if you have the opportunity to step outside of that and know a life and an existence that is greater than that, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it now.
Do
it now.
Like, swear to God, I really hope y'all write that out. And if you do, tag me in it. Just so I want to be like, I see.
Oh, yeah, tag me too. That'll be good.
Yeah. Matter of fact, don't just tag Cree, follow Cree. When I tell y'all the talk tokens, try to be in there spitting. Jesus, y'all, like, make sure y'all follow Counselor Cree. And you have the other page.
Oh yeah, my business page, Healing Sacred Scars. Yep. Go ahead, follow me. Come holler at me.
She's dope.
I appreciate it. I mean, dope energy knows dope energy, right? So it had to be.
This is how we doing bad talk. This is why we doing it.
I like it. I'm so glad that you created this space. I'm so glad that you walked into it. I'm excited to see like when people come back and comment, or when they shoot you the DMs and tell you like how, what, and where. So I'm just excited about it all, y'all, because we are in a space that we are the change.
Yes.
We are the change, because our children are going to live and look different. So for everybody that's saying followed, I appreciate y'all. Come on over. This is me all day. I probably curse a little bit more on my page.
I curse on my page all the time.
So that's just understand. That's my disclaimer. But yeah, so I appreciate it. You can follow me at Counselor Cree, or and my business page at Healing Sacred Scars. And y'all, let's do this work. Khadijah, again, I appreciate you so much, my love. And you do. You look fly. Like, I see people comment like, oh, you look so beautiful. And I'm like, don't she? Like, I had to, y'all don't come to my live expecting all of this, because it probably won't be on air. But I was just like, man, sis be fly. So I have to match her fly somewhere. So I did a little something. But, I appreciate your good.
I've noticed, and I actually was told this, but there's something in me showing up as my authentic self. And what I mean by that is like me, I love to dress up. I love to ordain myself. Like I love to put things on and to make myself, I feel like all of that is very much spiritual. It's like art. And that's how I see it, And so I was told at one point, like, I need to show up more like that, because that's who I am and that's how I feel comfortable. And it's not just makeup, because I don't always wear makeup, right?
Right.
It's just like giving myself, pampering myself, and giving myself that energy. So I'm always, Mrs. Put that shit on. I'm going to put it on when I got the opportunity to put it on.
And as we, before we close, I wanted to just say to you, it's the clothes and the putting on, but the most impactful thing about you for me is the energy, right? Mm-hmm. Your energy is just fly. Like, you walk into a room and I don't care if you got on sweats and, your braids are back in a ponytail. Like, not everybody has it. You have this aura about you that's very much like, that whole, she's your queen. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's you. And I love it. Like, even when we, kind of in our ish, that is you. And when you sit in that, man, can't nobody touch shawty. Like, period. And so I love it. So just to see you continue to, be you in all of the phases, I'm here for it.
Cree, I love you, girl.
Yeah, I love you.
Oh, God. Y'all, see? All right, like I said, if y'all ain't following Cree, follow Cree, because she is, as y'all see, is just gifted in so many ways. And then once you follow her, you realize that she love to cook. She be making bad butters, which I just found out today. She's real alchemy hands healing there too, you know, and Talk Tokens is amazing. So just make sure y'all go follow her and check her out. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Like, I knew you were the right person to have this conversation with. Like, I felt it energetically because I know what you bring and I've seen it. And I just felt like the people had to see it. You know, the whole point of having this, and I know we're about to jump off. I know I've been holding your time. But the whole point of doing Spiritual with the Bag and the whole point of Bag Talk is for us to be able to have these open dialogues and conversations that we're not always able to have. You know what I mean? And to create those spaces, and also to create spaces for people to be able to show and share their gifts. You know, there are gifts that you have that I will never have. You know what I mean? But it's important for you to be able to shine and to show those gifts, right? And it's important for me to be able to open up the spaces for people to be able to do that while I do my own. Like, that's how we grow.
That's how we grow.
That's how we grow. So yeah.
Yay.
I love you.
Welcome. Thank you. I love you too.
I don't want
to. If you're just joining in, make sure y'all go back and watch.
Yes.
The replay.
Yes. Please. And when you do, you'll get some gems and it's going to resonate. And again, write y'all letters, write y'all intentions. But Cree, I love you.
I love you too.
Go ahead, do your thing.
Okay. I don't know how I get out. I'm not gonna be like last week. I got it. What? See y'all later. Peace, love, and light, y'all.
Bye. Okay, y'all. So, whew, my goodness. When I talk about that live was electric, I ain't playing. It was electric. And like she said, people who just joined, go back and watch because it was that good. It was so many gems in there. Oh my God, it was so good. Oh, y'all, I'm sorry. The energy is just all on me. Like, I feel hot and shit and all the rest of that. But Cree is absolutely amazing. Like, I feel blessed to be able to have this space where we can have these deep conversations and we can talk about these topics that may be taboo to some, right? That may be new to others, but we have them here. And it's also important to know that the people around you have these gifts, right? The people around you, like your everyday homegirls. So often we look up to like celebrities and Tracy Ellis Ross and this person and Michelle Obama. I love them people, by the way. But it's important to also look up to the people around you that have these gifts, right? And let them also speak to you so you can grow and do the things that you're supposed to do. So I'm grateful to have this space. I'm happy that y'all joined and that you stayed engaged and you asked questions. Next week, we have the Health Bay on here. And if y'all have been on this live, you already saw her on here just talking for a bit. But she is just amazing when it comes to her gifts of healing. Just to put it plain and simple. She has a juice company and a juice business, and she specializes in juice detoxes and cleanses. But what I really want to talk about with her is her journey and how she got here, right? And how Spirit has kind of led her through and has guided her and held her hand while she's gotten there. So it's going to be a really special conversation. I hope y'all tune in. If you haven't followed already, make sure you follow both me and Cree and set your alarm clocks because next Wednesday, we're getting real yet again. So all I want to say is thank you. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm happy that you all are able to share this space with me. And if you feel like you know somebody that should be on Bag Talks, or you want to be on Bag Talk, or you know, something that you want to lend to this, shoot me a DM. Let's talk. Let's talk. Because there's so much, we all have gems to offer. And I want to be able to highlight that. So love y'all. I thank y'all. I'm grateful for y'all. And I pray y'all have a blessed night. Oh, and make sure, like I said, write your shit out tonight. Not your shit. Take your time, get out your pen and paper, and really write down your goals and your visions that you see for yourself. And while you're doing so, think about your ancestors and all that they have, you know, created, the space that they've created that, for you to be free, right? embody that energy. And then also think about your future lineage, right? And what space you want to create for them while you're writing this out. Because we got goals and we got things to do and we got freedom to live in. And it's time to get with that shit. So do it. Love y'all. Have a blessed day. Jazz, hell yeah, let's do it. Oh, actually, let's talk. Because I feel like there's a really great conversation that we can have. So love y'all. Have an amazing day. Stay blessed. Write them letters and tag me. You don't have to show me the letter, but if you want to tag me and say, oh, I wrote the letter, I love that. I love accountability. All right, y'all. Be blessed.